Alright, we're gonna work on the planter here today, but real quick I wanted to walk back here and look at the wheat because I walked in the house to grab the camera and looked out the back window and it's like, damn, that stuff darkened up. I couldn't believe the color difference between yesterday and today. Apparently it needed some of that heat. I bet compared to yesterday, this stuff jumped up at least an inch overnight. Holy crap. Finally got a hold of some of that fertilizer. This is nice dark green now. Yesterday it was kind of, it was a decent color, but it was kind of pale. This stuff looks pretty good now. You can see where that row right there had a tire on it when I was spreading. There's a track there. There's a track there. Those guys are a little short. Not too bad for being planted in the mud in the end of November, I dare say. I'll take it. Alright, I got the planter hooked up and set it down, get the pressure off the cylinders. I made 2 more hoses this morning. I was going to keep going, but Dad's getting low on fittings. I don't want to burn them all up before he gets more in case somebody comes in needing a hose. But I made this guy that runs to the top of the main lift cylinders. I made put one on each cylinder because the way they had it routed, it was rubbing hard on that H-frame, and the jacket was wore off both hoses the entire stroke of the cylinder, so there was like 12 inches of jacket missing. Figured probably ought to replace those because that's not good. But I'm gonna get this cylinder rebuilt. For starters, I think I went through the inventory. Hopefully we got the stuff to do it. It looks like a 3-inch bore cylinder, but I won't know until I take it apart. Actually, I know it's a 3-inch bore cylinder because now that I remember, I did look in parts book when I was looking up hydraulic schematics, and it called that a 3 by 10. I think those are 3 by 10s, and I think those are 3.5 by 12s or something. Can't remember. But anyway, the outside, I'm pretty sure that's a 3. That's a 3, that's a 3, and that's a 3. And then I think those are 3.5. The mains are 3.5s, I think. But they might be 4s. But the mains are bigger. Anyhow, get this feller off of here. What size do you suppose them are? Come on. Naturally, I left my rag in the shop. Carry it around in your pocket, and then you take it out to do something, and then you forget to put it back in your pocket, and then when you need it, it's not there. That one's a 3/4. Kind of the pain about different hose manufacturers is everybody makes their nuts different sizes. Like, see, that hose is that a Gates? One of these was a Gates. The bottom one's a Gates. That one was an 11/16 nut. And the top one, I think, is a Goodyear. Nope, top one's original. It's still got an aluminum tag on it. But it's got a 3/4 inch nut on it. And then the fittings that Dad has have 3/4 inch nuts on them. So number 6 JIC, which is what these are, you never know what you're going to get. It's either going to be an 11/16 or 3/4. That cylinder is soaked. Had to put a bottle jack under the end of the wing to get the pressure off the cylinder pin so I could spin them. I'm gonna have to get a punch and drive that out. There's enough grease on it, it don't want to go. All right, got the oil drained out of it, got it all cleaned up on the outside anyhow. That way we're not dealing with a nasty greasy mess. So it's time to dissect this thing, see what we're dealing with here. Really? Really? One came loose on the other side. Well, generally when you take an O-ring out and it's got a hanger on it like that, that's a pretty good indicator of why your tube is leaking. Which, that was where this one was leaking from, was it was leaking from the tube, or the top of the tube and running down the cylinder, so. Oh, wait a minute here. Forgot. I got it collapsed, so that ain't gonna break it. Wow. Another thing that's odd is this thing's got a catch in it right there. I don't know if that means I can't feel a doink in the tube, but that could mean that the piston seal is possibly rolled. I'm thinking we got a problem with the piston seal too, because that tube, it's broke loose from the gland, it's hung on the piston. Gonna do it, all right. Really? Normally tie rod cylinders don't fight you this hard. Well, now we got a gap opened up. Come loose, you bastard. Bore of the tube looks good. Piston seal looks good. Now, what is that? 1 1/8. Yep. I like this impact. The only thing that sucks about it is it doesn't got the hog ring, it's got the button, so you need a punch to take your sockets off. There ain't no way, especially since there's no spanner marks or anything, there's no way that they threaded that piston. Moving is just being stubborn. What I never expected. Never would have expected this thing to fight this hard coming apart, that's for damn sure. Why? There we go. It's not threaded, it's just, it fit that snug for some reason. The weird part is there's no O-ring behind it. Normally you got an O-ring on your piston to keep oil from bypassing it. Maybe that's why it fits so tight. Maybe they just machined it close enough that they didn't need the O-ring. I don't know. That's interesting. Rod's got a couple pits. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. There's a little pit there where, well, it's not even a pit, it's where the chrome chipped. There's one there, one there, one there. But for what we're doing, it'll seal back up. I've watched Dad fix worse. Yeah, smaller screwdriver's in order. There's our rod wiper. I'm getting the picks. Yeah. The weird part is they've got these gland seals in here. Oh, there is. I don't think wheels are supposed to make that sound. There's no backup ring on them, which is probably why this one did what it did, because it was probably trying to extrude itself out through, or out between the gap, like that right there. That's why she was leaking. There's the smoking gun, so to speak. And that's it. Oh, I lied. That's not it. Come back here. Alright, that's it. Now I'll clean this stuff up. Alright, just for safe measure, I'm gonna run a hone through the tube real quick, clean it up a little. Towel. Let's give her a little more. It's a little tore up on this end. Most of the time when a cylinder's got a little bit of liner damage like that, you're not gonna get it. In order to clean it up, you're gonna get it out of tolerance for the O-rings that they were using for seals. But if you can at least knock any edges off and make it smooth so that you're not tearing up your piston seals for an implement cylinder, you're gonna be perfectly fine. There, that's better. I don't know if you can see there's vertical scoring about from here up. And there's matching marks in the piston. Bring you back around here. There's matching marks in the piston like it ate something at some point. But might be able to throw this in the lathe, and can't, like I say, you can't take too much off or you're gonna throw all your tolerances out for the seal. But if you can at least knock any edges off, which being aluminum, this thing's got some edges in it, so see what I can do with that. Well, the piston cleaned up decent. At least rounded off all the edges, not slides free through the barrel. But this is what I get for tearing a cylinder apart on a Sunday. We got the O-rings to put it back together. We got some U-cup seals that should replace back here. Where did it go? There it is. It's still rolling. That should replace this O-ring and backup ring for the rod seal, but I want to have Dad check that out. But we don't have the right backup rings for the piston seal, and we don't have the right rod wiper. I thought we did because I was figuring on a 200 cross-section O-ring. Well, these are 300 cross-section O-rings, and we don't have the right crap. So now I got to figure out how to get this boat anchor picked back up so that I can at least get it out of the way, so that Dad can get his truck out of the garage and Mom can get her truck in, because they're going to be home here in a few hours. So I think if I know I can. If I plug the lines that I unhooked going to this wheel, that'll let these three pick the planter up, and then I'll probably have to make a piece of box tube or something so that I could jack this wing up and pin a piece of box tube or something in there to hold this wing up until I get these cylinders, or until I get the parts to put these cylinders back together, which should be Monday. Yay. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Well, I got lucky and we had a piece of pipe down in the scrap pile that was already cut to the right length and just so happened to fit over the cylinder mounts, so I just stuffed that in there and didn't even have to drill any holes. And I ended up, the way these cylinders are plumbed in, I had to make a loop hose. Well, actually I didn't have to. I found that one on the shelf already made up with the right ends on it. I don't remember why or whatever, but didn't even have to make a hose. I just stuck a loop hose on there and got it up in the air. This cylinder still drifts down, but I got it on the transport lock, so it ain't going nowhere. So at least I can move it. It's not a boat anchor. Can't fold it up, but I can move it. So with that being said, I need to go get hose clamps before I can start working on the fertilizer hoses. So I'm trying to get as much done as I can so that when I go to Rural King, I got a list of stuff that I need to get, and I can get it all, and I have to make a bunch of trips. So I'm moving up here to the front. I got the pump bracket mounted and adjusted. In the book, they are very, 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 very adamant. You do not bolt that pump to the drawbar. You just pin it because it needs to be able to float. So I gotta go to, when I go to TSC, I gotta see if I can find a good short 3/4 inch hitch pin to put in that, because the pin, the guy that I got it from has been bolting it. Like I say, the band, it's in bold letters with the little triangle with the exclamation point. It's in bold letters. Do not bolt that pump to the drawbar. So I'm gonna go ahead while I got the tractor hooked up and make some hoses. Should be able to shorten some of these guys up like this, why? Because these are for the markers. So these might actually be right if I got rid of the extension hoses that now they're not even going through the... Yeah, so basically these marker hoses would be correct if I got rid of the extensions and put them through the hose holder like they're supposed to be. So that would solve that problem. Just get rid of the extensions, and I think I need to put new couplers on this because they leaked real bad when they weren't hooked up. Although I don't know why, because I don't really see any damage to the check balls. And I'm going to redo these hoses because the jacket's all weather checked. Those are for... These guys are for the pump. So the pump runs up this side of the tongue, and then the markers and lift go down that side of the tongue. So I'm gonna go ahead. There's only 6 of them. They got... Oh, well, we can eliminate this shit. See, this is what they got a pipe to JIC adapter, which the way that thing is bottomed out, I'm not even so sure that those are JIC adapters. I wonder, because JIC, the hexes shouldn't bottom out against each other. They could be, but I don't know. But I can eliminate that adapter and just put pipe thread on this hose and start cleaning this crap up. So what do they got going on down here? Down here, see, and then this is what they did. I don't know what I was talking about on them hoses yesterday. They got a female JIC, and then a male-to-male JIC union, and then female JIC. So I can just put a, because you got a nut here, so that's your swivel. Sorry. Yeah, is that the only one? I think that's the only one. So that's your swivel. You don't need a swivel on the hose, so if you just put a male JIC on the hose and then screw it right into the tubing, and then you eliminate that adapter, which is one more point where you could have a leak. So should be able to burn through these real quick. They're all 1/2 inch. They should all, for the most part, be about the same damn length. I actually will probably, because they're going to come up to the center of the tongue, 2 go that way, 2 go that way, they all go to the same spot there. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull off one. Oh, and I got 2 1/2s and 2 3/8. Markers are 3/8, the lifts are 1/2s. Okay, so I'll do the pump and the, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pull, I think I'm just going to pull one of the lift hoses off, and we should, although shit, I can't do it while it's in the air because it's going to try to go down on me. Fuck. Okay, so I'm going to have to wait on the lift until I get those cylinders figured out so I can set this thing. I wish I'd known. I wish I'd have thought about doing this before I picked it up, because then I could have done it while it's sitting on the ground and the load was off of it. Now if you try to unhook these hoses, the planer's going to go down. But I can get these marker arm hoses done, and I can get the pump hoses done. So, and I gotta get a hitch pin. I'm gonna get high trans so I can change the oil in the pump. And yeah, so, but I'm gonna get these hoses done real quick. This is a public service announcement. If you got pipe thread, that's 1/2 inch pipe thread. If you got pipe thread that's leaking and you have to get it so freaking tight that you can't get it back apart to get it to stop leaking. Your threads are screwed up. Fix it right. I don't know how tight they got this or how they got it that tight, but I couldn't get it off of wrenches. Started to round the fitting off. This is off the hose, so I cut it off the hose so I could get a 6-point socket on there, and I had a 6-point socket with a 24-inch breaker bar on there. I cannot get that Pioneer coupler off that fitting. And there ain't no sense of putting heat to it, because then you're just going to ruin the springs and check or pop it inside the Pioneer fitting, and then the Pioneer fitting is junk anyway. So, yeah, it's got me thinking now, it probably wasn't the check ball leaking. I'm wondering if the threads leaked on these things. Because and the other hose is the same way. It's, wow. Alright, there's those. All that's left is the ones for the main lift, which obviously, like I say, you gotta wait till you can set the planter on the ground and make sure we're not gonna have any issue. I mean, you could jack or get jacked under the planter, but that's just no. But for the marker arms, I ended up taking out whatever the length of those extensions they had on there, and that made them the right length. And then I probably took close to, I don't know, between 16 and 24, I didn't measure exactly, but somewhere between 16 and 24 inches out of the hoses for the pump. And I mean, the planter's all the way up, right? I picked 3-point up, make sure everything was going to clear, and the planter's all the way up right, or the 3-point's all the way up right now. So that's, I mean, they're not being tugged on or nothing, they're still slack, so should be good. And I got the monitor, light harness, and fold box cable separated out and zip tied together, so all the electrical's together and all the hoses will be together and yada yada yada. So anyhow, I think we got a line of thunderstorms coming in by the radar, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out of the way and park it and get the tractor in the barn and run into town and get what I need. And by that point, it might be time to call it a day. I work on this thing for hours at a time, and it doesn't really seem like I get a whole lot done. Basically, all I got done today was these hoses and the hoses back there, and tore that cylinder apart. And it just, everything I do on this takes a lot of time, and it just doesn't seem like, yeah, I don't know. But anyhow, I guess this one's going to be a shorty. So hopefully the weather looks decent this week. So hopefully I can get all the fertilizer finished up. Like I said, hopefully my bearing fat jack shafter here tomorrow, and get the squeeze pump buttoned up. I'm gonna go get hose clamps today so we can get all the fertilizer hoses buttoned up. Figure out what I'm gonna do for filling the tanks, run the main trunk through, get that finished up, and then we can strap the tanks down. That'll be done. And get more clamps around for hoses, and I can finish making what I need for the lift wheels. And then once that's done, we can put the manifold back on, and then with all that, the toolbar will be done. And I got these 2 hoses, so I mean, it's really not a whole lot. The fertilizer part ain't gonna take long at all, because that's all push on hose, so that part will go quick. Just a matter of getting everything around to do it. So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys all on the next one.